I'm Melissa Shanahan, and this is the Velocity Work Podcast, episode number 75. This podcast is for attorneys who are running their own firms. We explore tactics, tools, and stories related to pushing past simply lawyering well and into building a successful firm. Working in your firm and working on your business are two very different things. This podcast focuses on the latter. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode. Very glad you're here and excited to share with you today something that was discussed with a participant in the January sprint that I thought many of you would probably benefit from having some insight into this conversation that happened during one of the daily accountability calls. So let me start with a question. Have you ever had one of those moments in your day where metaphorically you're beating your head against a wall? And later, maybe you don't even know it, like you're just in it and you're doing whatever you need to do to get something done. But then later you look back on it and you're like, why was I doing that? Why didn't I outsource that? Why did I spend as much time on that as what I did? I know that the answer is yes to everyone, including myself. We can all relate to what that's like, where you just get in a rabbit hole with something and you shouldn't even be the one doing it, but you do it anyway. And you follow it through. Now, you might think that this episode is about delegation. It is not. It's about an awareness about yourself, because a participant brought up that this was happening. You know, one of the things that they said that they were going to do, by the way, if you don't know what a sprint is, go check out velocitywork.com/sprint and you can get information about the next one that we're hosting. But the one that we're hosting right now started at the beginning of January, and participants they have one result they're going to create by the end of the month. And every day they have to show up and say, this is the one thing that I'm going to get done today towards the result. The next day they show up, did they get it done or not? Check box, yes or no. And then what's the lesson learned, having gone through that and executed on the thing and their plan and all of that. And then what's the one thing today they're going to do? So it's like it's this awesome external accountability for yourself that is met with community and support, and it's a blast, and you fly towards results on the way through the month. Now, we're in one right now. And so one of the participants, their thing that they were supposed to do in an effort to create this result for the month, this thing on this particular day was to create two processes. And we could get into specifics, but it really doesn't matter. They just had to map out and create the process, like with, an SOP. So they're doing that, and they got stuck on something that they didn't anticipate. They couldn't figure something out, how to configure something. And so they kept going at it and kept going at it and kept going at it and kept going at it. And so when I said, did you get the thing done that you said you were going to do yesterday? The answer was no. I spent the amount of time that I said I was going to on it, but I didn't get it done because I got stuck on this barrier. We started talking about that because there's a couple different ways you can handle things when you get stuck on a barrier. One is just kind of from a high level point of view, thinking about barriers that you're going to encounter, is that you move beyond the barrier and you finish everything else, and then you come back to the barrier at a different time. Like you actually schedule some time to deal with that barrier, but then it doesn't derail everything else in terms of your effort that day. And so we talked about that, and he's like, yeah, I totally could have done that. That was a possibility. And then he talked about why he just kept going though with this barrier. He was like, here's the deal. I knew that I had this information somewhere. So it felt silly to outsource this. Like I knew that I didn't have to be the one doing this, but I had the information, and I just thought, oh, it'll take me 2 minutes to find this in my email, the information I need. So then he goes to his email and he starts digging. Well, okay. As you can imagine, 2 minutes goes by and he still can't find it. And he said, 30 minutes into this, I'm still trying to find this piece of information. I've just burned a bunch of time. And it's really frustrating. On the other side of it, I'm really irritated with myself because I got in this rabbit hole and it derailed him. So I asked him to go back to those few minutes or those 30 minutes where he was metaphorically banging his head against the wall, which is how he described that. And I said, close your eyes and really get back in that zone, that space that you were in. Put yourself back in those moments. Describe it to me. Describe the experience of that time to me. And he was willing to play, which was great. And here's a few things that came out. One is he named that state that he was in, that feeling state, which is so good. He named it bullheaded determination. I thought that was awesome because when you can name something, it makes it easier. It sort of separates you from it. So bullheaded determination. And then I asked him to describe the sensations that he experiences in his body when he is in bullheaded determination. That is tougher for most people, but this is important because it helps bridge and connect things for you in a way that brings an awareness to it that you can't have otherwise. So as he sat with that and he thought through it, he mentioned a tightening in his torso. So now we've got a name for the state and we have a sensation that we associate with that name. Bullheaded determination and a tightening in the torso. Now, all of us are probably very good at reflecting on times where we are metaphorically banging our head against the wall, evaluating it and saying like, oh yeah, we could put ourselves in that state, in that moment. We could come up with a name for the behavior that we're displaying, so to speak, or that we're carrying out. And we could name the sensations. But the beauty of this is that it gives you the ability to catch yourself sooner so that you aren't just reflecting and saying like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Hopefully next time I'll catch myself sooner. This will help you catch yourself sooner because if you name the state, so in this instance, bullheaded determination, next time this sprint participant hits a period where it's like, oh, this is bullheaded determination. He will identify it because he has a name to it and there are physical sensations that are present when he's in that state. And so it helps bring your mind and attention to it. It's really, as woo-woo as this sounds, it is connecting you with your body so that you're not just a head walking around attached to a body. It connects your head to your body. When you can do that, there is a different level of awareness that you have with how you operate and the signals that you're getting from your environment. You're tuned into signals. Your body is full of signals constantly. And so many of us are walking around very detached from all of that. But you could do yourself a great service by tuning into that. And if next time when he feels this pit in his stomach or he feels this tightening in his abdomen, I think is how he described it. When he feels that, it'll just be like a little bit of a wake up call. And he'll probably, then the next thought is maybe, oh, is this bullheaded determination? This is bullheaded determination. And you could be lighthearted about it, but catching yourself in the moment will help you make a better decision in the moment, which will help save you resources, your time, your energy, your money, etc. So with that, I just want to make it clear that the reason that you want all this awareness around it, you want to name the state and you want to be able to describe the sensations associated with that state because it heightens your awareness. When it happens again, you will be able to catch it more quickly in the moment. Now, here's something I want to say. What we talked about, and I want all of you to think about this for yourselves as well, is that state of bullheaded determination really serves my client in certain areas. You know, he's a litigator and that serves him very well in litigation, but it's misused in a situation or a scenario like I've just described to you with him, getting in a rabbit hole with the email. And when you have an awareness and you can call your attention to, just kind of wake up to, oh, I'm in bullheaded determination, and this is actually not the appropriate space for that, then you can make a different decision. So it may be a strength. You may be exercising a strength in a moment, but it's being misused. It's an inappropriate time for that strength to be utilized. It's good to recognize that. because this attorney's rate is $4.50 an hour. So $4.50 an hour, that's $7.50 a minute. Every 2 minutes, he's burning $15. That's how you need to think about this. Your time is that valuable. And so when you hit barriers, how you deal with those barriers really matters, not just to your sanity and efficiency, but from a time value perspective, it really does matter. And it's easy to tell yourself that it doesn't because no one's writing you a check for those 2 minutes. No one's writing you a $15 check. But that is how valuable your time is. And so it should not be spent on bullheaded determination when it leads down a path of a rabbit hole with email that somebody else could handle, right? So one of the things we talked about was when you recognize that you are in bullheaded determination and you know it because the sensations are there and you've had a wake-up call and you're like, okay, I'm in bullheaded determination. Just play it out till the end. If you stay with that bullheaded determination or whatever state you are dealing with, if you stay with that all the way through, play it through, does it serve you or does it not? Is it the best thing, the best use of your time, or is it not? Because like we said before, in some instances for this client, there are uses where bullheaded determination is 100% what needs to be played out. It's appropriate. It's not a misuse of that strength. And that's good to know. Then you keep going. But if when you play it out to the end, and it's like, this is not the time to use bullheaded determination, then you can make a conscious choice to handle it however you may, right? But at least you have the choice. You have the awareness. That's what it's really all about. It's not about doing the right thing or the wrong thing. You are the one that decides what's right and wrong. What it is about is giving yourself the option in the moment. That's what awareness can do for you. I'm bringing this up to all of you because I know for nearly every human on the planet, but all of the law firm owners I work with have moments like this where they allow themselves to get sucked into something. They are experiencing a state where it's almost like zoning out, and it isn't for the best use of their time. I want you to think for yourself of when the last time that happened. And when you get that scenario in your head, I want you to close your eyes and go back to being in that moment. And I want you to experience what that was like, what that felt like in the moment. I want you to name the state that you were experiencing, that you were, the behavior you were displaying, but name that state. And then I want you to say, be able to say and articulate what are the sensations that go along with that state. Do you feel like your cells are energized and lit up? Do you feel a sense of openness? Do you feel a sense of constrictedness? Do you feel a weight on your chest? Do you feel a tightening in your abdomen? Just explore it. And at first, if it's like, I don't know, you don't feel any sensations, that's just a really good sign that it's probably been a while since you've tuned in to wake up to the wisdom that your body has to offer, and you need to tune into that. So just sit with it for a minute. And I always ask my clients when they first are if they get stuck on this and they're like, I don't feel anything, then I'll say, okay, let's go through this step by step. Do you feel anything in your toes? And they'll say no. And their eyes will be closed. They'll be kind of back in that state. They'll be in that scenario. And I'll say, okay, do you feel anything in your calves? No. Okay. What about your knees? No. And it starts to get you in tune because you start to pay attention to your knees. You start to pay attention to your calves. It's like, no, there's nothing there. But then when you get to it's like, okay, do a body scan the rest of the way. Where is there a sensation? Then they can usually answer it. So you could do that for yourself. This sounds so funny to talk about for on a law firm owner's podcast, but y'all, I'm not kidding. This is the stuff that makes a big difference. And this is the reason why now, when this sprint participant in the future, he'll be much quicker to identify when he is in this bullheaded determination state. He will know it. He will feel this tightening in his abdomen. And then it'll wake him up and he'll say, okay, is this the appropriate, like play it out to the end? Is this going to give me the result that I really want? The answer is no. Okay, then let's make a different call. Shut this down. What do you need to do instead? And if it is an appropriate use of time, then great. Keep on keeping on. Because all of this can happen within literally 1.5 seconds in your head. It's just a computation that happens when you check in, you have an awareness, oh, that's bullheaded determination. It's almost an immediate, you don't have to like think through the scenario all the way to the end. It's just an immediate like, no, this isn't going where it needs to go. So it doesn't take long to do this, but having a name and being able to identify sensations will help you make a better decision and catch yourself in the moment instead of reflecting and being like, man, I always reflect and I always know I should handle that differently. But in the moment, I'm just on default mode. This is how you start to get out of default mode and increase your awareness in the moment. And it's a practice. So I'm not, you should do this. You should do what I've told you to do. Go back to the most recent time that you've been sucked into something, or you don't like how you spent your time, or when you reflect back, it's like, no, that wasn't the best use of my time. I just didn't realize. Or when there's times you're just fixated on something. That can be another indicator. Just think back to when you've been really fixated on something that didn't produce value. It was just what you did. Go back to that most recent version for yourself, the scenario, sit with it and experience it. Just take like 60 solid seconds. Experience it, put a name to it, and then articulate the sensations that accompany that state. And then you're on your way to like, okay, so when I am experiencing this, fill in the blank with whatever you called it, it's a check. It's a way for me to wake up. And when you guys name the state, don't feel like you have to be real serious. The funnier you are, the better, and usually the more it sticks. I have a state that I've named hollow indulgence, and I know it when I feel it because it's almost like it's in my chest. There's a little bit of pressure on my chest, but it's like right under my collarbones. So that's the sensation that accompanies it. And it's almost like when I wake up to it, when I realize like, oh, this is hollow indulgence. Okay. There's never for me an upside to continue that. So it's not like a strength that I have that I'm trying to decide is at the appropriate time. If I pick up on hollow indulgence, I know that's a signal to abort mission and get back on track with the thing that I am supposed to be doing in the moment. So it's almost like when I get derailed, when I get fixated on something and it's off track of of producing value, which I plan my time really well. So my time is chock full in my calendar of value producing activities. And so the second that I realize what is happening, I feel the zone I'm in and I feel that pressure that I talked about around my chest. It's just all kind of there. It all happens within less than a second. I know I need to pivot and get back on track. So it helps a lot. The more you play with this, the more well-versed you will be in reading yourself, in reading and getting signals and catching yourself in the moment. And then you can make a choice. It kind of pulls you out of your moment when otherwise it might be default. Okay, everyone. Practice this week. Tune in. Stop being your own barrier and use this tool, this tactic, in order to get one step closer to that. Have a beautiful week, everyone. I'll see you here next Tuesday. Hey there. If you enjoyed this podcast, I highly recommend you come and check out Mastery Group. It is where owner attorneys come together to study this material, apply it, and thus create really big results for their firm and for their life. So come on over, velocitywork.com/join to get more information and get started. Show notes from this episode can be found at velocitywork.com/podcast.